Hi, I'm Herman Narula. I'm CEO of Improbable and author of Virtual Society.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, Herman, thank you very much for dropping by the Q Podcast studio today. I guess, first of all, how are you finding TOA in Berlin? I know you've just literally got in.
It's just a haze of jet lag for me at the moment, I gotta say. And the pumping techno music in the background definitely adding to the Berlin vibe.
Yeah, well, I hope that keeps you awake for the few hours before you jump back on a plane. To kick things off, Herman, I guess my first question would be, how does Improbable define a virtual world or metaverse?
So I think it's really important to be precise here because this term has been butchered by so many kind of marketing people at so many companies. For it to mean anything at all, it's got to be something different from just a video game, right? Video games are really important parts of our economy. People enjoy themselves inside them. They provide fulfilling experiences. They make a crap ton of money. But I think the metaverse is meant to be a progression of that, right? So it's a progression in a couple different ways. One is that there are certain experiences that don't really make economic and technical sense in a normal video game. Like if you want to put a stadium of thousands of people together, something we did at the end of last year, or you want to interact with your favorite celebrity in a synchronous environment, or you want to co-create a world and then actually turn that into a business. Those are not things you can typically do inside a normal video game. Mm-hmm. So the metaverse is really extending games into an ecosystem of connected businesses with richer experiences, often with more users and more complexity, but also with different economic modalities as well.
Wow, excellent. And can I ask, what role do AR, VR, and AI play in that definition you just gave?
Great. So, we should break down two different parts of experience. And I do this a lot in my book, which I'm going to shamelessly plug, Virtual Society.
Please do.
But, one is immersion and the other is presence. So when companies like Meta first got into advertising VR, everybody was talking about immersion, how real it will feel. And that's important. How real something feels does affect your enjoyment. But if you look at a lot of the most valuable games in the world, things like Fortnite and Minecraft, they don't look very real. In fact, they probably look more cartoony than games that came before them because what they're focused on is presence, which is not the feeling that the world looks real, but the feeling that the world responds to you and can actually behave and can be interactive. So VR is a very powerful tool for immersion. It can be a powerful tool for presence. But the back-end experiences, the networking, the ability to make everything in that world really interactive hasn't quite caught up yet. And I think down the line it will be very valuable. But for me, VR and AR are more a supplement to the metaverse rather than the soul of what it can offer and what it can be. And AI, of course, I think can not only provide new experiences, but crucially, massively reduce the crippling cost of content production. The main reason why we don't see all the games anybody listening might want to play is because it's just ridiculously expensive to build content. So if AI can improve that, it's going to be a huge catalyst for the metaverse.
Fantastic. I guess then, in terms of what you just mentioned, what new opportunities does the metaverse provide when it comes to economic growth, collaboration, and self-expression?
Awesome. So maybe using some examples would be good. So recently we did an album launch party for one of the biggest K-pop bands in the world. Twice. And what was really cool about that is their fans who are all over the world got to show up in one spot and not just like the 100, 200 people that you could maybe get in a Fortnite or a Sandbox or something like that, but thousands of people all able to kind of sing, interact, meet strangers. And that created a really new social experience for people who might never have met in person. A lot of people reported that they felt anxious. They felt that kind of heart pumping, that feeling of really being in a place. Similarly, we did a screening of a game actually live that was for a benefit for Ukraine, a celebrity football game last year. And we had a bunch of celebrities, both from YouTube and players actually in the world hanging out with fans. So I think it's all about widening the experiences people can have and the fundamental fulfillment that they can get. And these are just the start.
Yeah. And I suppose in that as well, there's that community aspect, like bringing people together.
Completely. And then also where people go afterwards, because what we're doing with M Squared is really providing tools so that anybody can build these experiences and actually build entirely different businesses, not just ones that we might control or that might be part of our platform, like a lot of the other projects in this space.
I suppose, Herman, can you give us any predictions or trends that you think could be influential in the metaverse/virtual world space over the next coming year?
Oh, awesome. So, I think discovery is entirely dominated by influencers and content creators now. They are how people discover games and how people make money with, just look at somebody like Mr. Beast or, or any top streamer like, Shroud or whoever it might be these days. I'm a little out of touch with top streamers. But the reality is those people are at the end of an economic process, which perhaps they're going to start to become at the beginning of. The metaverse and metaversal tools afford the opportunity to make content very quickly and very easily that are quite connected.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people with large followings and influencers will suddenly become content creators. And what we found is brands that have a lot of audience but no ability to make interactive entertainment have often come to us thinking, hey, maybe we should just build our own experiences. And I think you'll see a lot of that happening outside of the big closed platforms of your Fortnite and your Roblox, because frankly, they just don't let these people build businesses or have the economic upside, that they're going to need in order to create investable companies, even though they're really awesome products.
Perfect. And then finally, I suppose, have you any parting remarks or advice on leadership to give a tech entrepreneur or enthusiast operating in this kind of current climate?
Oh, sure. I mean, this climate and, the last couple of years and probably the next couple of years are just entirely about persistence and resilience. If you're in the metaverse space, you're in a market that, either there's something really wrong with the psychology of self-determination theory, demographics, everything that the economy tells us, or most people will spend a great portion of their time doing meaningful things inside virtual worlds. So that economy is probably going to be worth trillions of dollars one day, probably more than we can imagine today, but maybe not tomorrow, maybe not the day after that. So if you're in this space, you've got to find a way to make a profitable business, something that we focused on doing, on the journey toward that happening.
And you mentioned that persistence and resilience is something that, is there any advice you can give people to kind of have that to keep going? Because like I said, it is a tough industry at the moment in terms of growing, in terms of getting that investment straight back. What would your kind of top tip advice be?
Find something that you want to do with people that you want to do it with, even if every single day you just got repeatedly punched in the face. Find people that you want to work with so much and a goal you believe in so much that it's worth that, even if that were to last for an indefinite period of time. And if you feel like you're suffering, but aren't making progress, make sure that at least the thing you're aiming for is worth suffering for. Yeah. That's my one thing I find with some entrepreneurs that I advise is like the business that they're suffering for, even if it worked, probably wouldn't even be worth the pain.
Yeah.
So pick something worth suffering for.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Herman, thank you so much for dropping by the studio. And I hope your jet lag gets better.
I hope
and
so
you
too.
get better.
Lovely to meet you.